Hello, everyone. This is General Romulus. Thank you so much for joining me. We are going to have some entertaining fun today. Everybody's talking about Netflix, Warner Brothers, Discovery, and Paramount Global, Skydance. These names just go on, don't they? Before we get into any of that, remember, General Romulus is not your stockbroker advisor, and I'm not here to give you any type of trading and investing advice. This is strictly for entertainment and, more importantly, informational, educational purposes only. So we have Netflix up here. The stock has been going down the last few days after they announced that they were interested in buying the company Warner Brothers Discovery. We all know Netflix. I've got a Netflix account. Don't use it very much. Figure it's worth $12 or $14 a month. I don't think I'm paying much more than that. If I am, then I should probably get rid of it. But there are many other pieces to these puzzles going on right now. They all have streaming services. Warner Brothers has their own streaming situation. Paramount, Skydance, they have a streaming situation. They have Paramount. And so let's kind of break this down and see if there is real value for the discerning investor. Perhaps the trader can get in here and make some high quality trades and make some money as well. All right, overall, the big picture here is one of caution for Netflix. I've been doing this a while. I mean, heck, I'm the founder of ancient Rome, after all. That was 2,700 years ago. And in real life, started on Wall Street over 31 years ago, September 1994. So I've seen a lot of these things come and go. And the history of these big takeovers, these big mergers and acquisitions, doesn't always go swimmingly. They're not slam dunks. As a matter of fact, a lot of them end up hurting the companies that they put into, or they stall their development, slow things down perhaps, maybe down the road, 5 years, 10 years down the road, as was the case with Disney, taking ABC down, ESPN down, other companies like that, big, massive mergers, did end up adding accretively to Disney over time, but it took many years for them to swallow these giant fish that they were trying to get down. And that is the situation with Netflix. You know, it's not as if there are two weak operators combining with Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery. That's not the situation right now. They're both doing somewhat well. You could see long before the announcement over here about a takeover, the stock Warner Brothers was up. Netflix pulling back more recently, but a couple of months ago at an all-time high. And the company does have a $400 billion overall valuation. And therein lies the problem for Netflix, is because they're trying to buy a company and spend $82 billion. That's 20% of their total valuation. And that's where things can get a little bit more complicated and, like I said, serve as a lag for the longer term, or perhaps even worse. 25 years ago, America Online tried to buy a company called Time Warner. Again, similar, we have media operations here, and it was a total disaster. I mean, this was a huge deal. It was much more than just 20% of AOL's total valuation at the time. As a matter of fact, it was more about 90% of their valuation, I believe, and it just wiped the company out. Other examples, Fox, Rupert Murdoch tried to buy MySpace. They bought it for $600 million, ended up selling it for $30 million a couple of years later. Microsoft is a fantastic company. They have lit up to the stratosphere in the last few years, post-COVID, with the artificial intelligence kind of mini bubble, mini mania that's been going on for the last 2 years or so. But they bought a company called Nokia, a hardware phone operator. Nokia, by the way, 25 years ago was the largest phone production company in the world, larger than Samsung, bigger than Apple. And Microsoft bought them for several billion, wrote it all the way off. They just took a complete loss on that. Do you remember Skype? Skype was completely eliminated from the technology communication landscape a few months ago. I believe it was October, maybe September, where they completely shut it down. Microsoft bought Skype. Billions of dollars. I think it was $10 or $11 billion. Just shut it down. Microsoft also bought LinkedIn. Remember that one? And I don't remember what they paid for it. 25 billion, maybe 30 billion. They probably couldn't sell LinkedIn for what they paid for it. Okay. Elon Musk. You remember this guy? He bought Twitter, renamed it X, paid about $40 billion, probably couldn't sell X or Twitter for close to that amount right now. And then, of course, other companies like Sears, Kmart, total disasters, wiped out both companies in the end. So again, Netflix is not operating from a position of weakness in here. Neither is Warner Brothers Discovery, but a 20% weighting on top of the Netflix current valuation, the dilutive factor in there, could seriously damage their ability to grow their earnings constructively in a multiple that the investors have become demanding of and used to over the recent past and for the next couple of years. It could end up great 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. But for several months, maybe 2-3 years, it could be a serious drag on their operations. That's one of the reasons the stock is down. It's just too big. There's a company called Cisco, a big network gear producer. And back in the dot-com bubble mania of 95 to 2000, they did a lot of acquisitions to grow, but they were buying companies, and they bought them all the time. It was almost every other month, it seemed, that they were buying one company or another. But they were buying small operations. So Netflix has a total valuation of $400 billion. In a Cisco type of world, they would spend no more than $4 billion or $10 billion to buy a company. And they would just add them in, wait a few months, find another acquisition, go after that, add them in. This is different. This is just too big. That's why the big money, the smart money out there, is taking Netflix down. Now, if Paramount Sky wins the bid, because they've offered $108 billion cash, by the way, Netflix's offer is cash and stock. Like I said, it would be dilutive to current Netflix shareholders. Paramount, I don't know where they're getting their cash from. The company isn't worth anywhere near this kind of thing, but it's probably Oracle. Remember that Oracle is founded by a company named Larry Ellison. Paramount Sky Global is run by his son, David Ellison. And perhaps they're getting cash from Daddy, or they're utilizing his financing abilities, but it's a cash offer. $108 billion. If Netflix answers and offers 115, 20, or even higher, the stock's going to go a lot lower. And I just don't think they're going to do that. So in the end, there is an opportunity for Netflix stock to go higher, but only if they don't keep pursuing this deal. Now, there's a lot of different factors folding in here. Netflix and Warner Brothers both have streaming services. Netflix would also get movie production. They wouldn't get the cable channels that Warner Brothers currently owns, but they would get HBO. So that would be Game of Thrones, that would be Sopranos, other very valuable franchises or franchises that have helped HBO make a lot of money over the years. I don't know how much. Game of Thrones is an example. It was the most watched television show in history. How much value is still there when everybody's already seen it? I don't know. But regardless, that is what's going on inside of Warner Brothers. Paramount, they have, Paramount Streaming. They also have CBS, which is very valuable in and of itself. And Netflix, the big streaming gorilla out there, the one that kind of brought that to our attention, pretty much invented entertainment streaming many years ago. And so that's what's going on. And I believe that if you see Paramount win the bid, Netflix stock goes higher. If Netflix announces they're going to top the $108 billion, Netflix stock goes lower. If Netflix wins, their stock drags for a couple of years. And so there you go. Hey, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Any comments, leave them below. Be happy to help answer any questions for you. This is General Romulus, signing back on my chariot, heading back to ancient Rome. And remember, my ultimate goal always is consistent returns regardless of market direction. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.